I did not set out to build 4 apps. I started with a spreadsheet. At first, it was just a mortgage tracker, a simple way to watch every extra payment I was making to pay off my home faster. But somewhere along the way, that spreadsheet quietly turned into something I never thought I would be capable of developing: an iOS app on the App Store. Hi everyone, this is Daniel with Ananti, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is where I document my mortgage payoff journey, building useful iOS apps with no coding background, and share what I'm learning about living intentionally instead of by default. In this video, I want to share how a simple tracking habit led me to build 4 practical iOS apps and what that journey taught me about what it actually takes to build something in the age we are living in using AI. My day job is in trade finance operations at a bank, and I have spent my entire career in banking. I say that because nothing about my background would ever suggest I would ever develop iOS apps or a website for that matter. But the story really starts with that spreadsheet, because what I noticed over time was something I did not expect. The tracking itself was changing my behavior. The more I could see the progress of my mortgage payoff, the more committed I became to making extra payment and staying on course. And at some point, I started thinking, if this visibility is doing so much for me, why not build something other people on the same journey can use? That thought became PayOff Pro. PayOff Pro took about 4 months to build using Claude Code, which is an AI coding assistant, and it went live on the App Store sometime between November of 2025. It is a mortgage payoff tracker, and the moment I could see in real time how much interest I was saving and how many years I was shaving off the mortgage, tracking stopped being a task. It became the reason I wanted to do more, because I could finally see what real progress looked like. But I should be very clear on this. The version of the PayOff Pro on the App Store today was not without hiccups. When I first started, I went straight into Claude Code with nothing but excitement and the idea in my head and the Excel tracker as my point of reference. I had no product requirement document, no design specification document, no version control. I did not even know those things even existed. Today, I would not even bother opening the terminal without every single one of those documents in place. And the project kept growing with errors and unfixable UI designs until I had to discard the entire thing and restart from scratch. 2 solid weeks of coding and tokens wasted. That was so painful. But it was also at this moment I learned a very real lesson. The hard part of building with AI was never going to be the code. The hard part was going to be the clarity, the planning, and the discipline I brought to the table before I ever opened the terminal to code a project. Once PayOff Pro was live, something shifted. I had proven to myself that I could take a real problem, plan it out, and ship a finished product. And that confidence opened the door to the next one. So on Christmas Eve of 2025, I started my second app, Hindsyt. Hindsyt is a decision journal inspired by the Dinkra symbol Sankofa. The idea of going back to retrieve what you have learned from your past mistake so you can move forward better. I built it because I wanted a way to look at my own decisions honestly and spot the patterns I kept repeating. A few weeks later, Hindsyt was live on the App Store. From there, I built MeanIt, a mindful spending companion app. MeanIt is rooted in Kakebo, a Japanese philosophy created by Hani Motoko in the early 1900s. The core idea behind it is simple but powerful. Think of it like this. Instead of looking at where your money went after the fact, what if you can pause and ask yourself why you are spending before you actually spend? That shift from autopilot to intention is what MeanIt is built around. And then came ShowUp. ShowUp came about because I had a friend living in the UK whom I had not contacted in over a year, and I wondered if I could build an app to keep me grounded in the relationships that really matter to me without fail. ShowUp is rooted in a philosophy that shapes how I think about connections. The app is was inspired by the Akan philosophy, the idea that personhood is not something you are born with. It is something you earn through your relationships and how you show up for the people around you. None of them started with me wanting to build an app. They started with me wanting to solve a problem or a pain point in my life. And the app became the vehicle because AI made it possible for someone like me with no coding experience to actually build it. That is the bigger lesson here. The barrier to creating things has fundamentally changed. It is no longer about whether you can write code. It is about whether you have the clarity to know what you want to build and the discipline to plan and iterate until it becomes something real. There you have it. 4 apps shipped in less than a year with zero coding background, all living under the Sense Ananti umbrella. Sense Ananti, which literally transliterates walking with sense in the Ghanaian Akan language, because that is what all this is really about, moving through life with intention instead of just going through the motions. The barrier that used to keep most of us out of building meaningful things from our ideas is now gone. What is left is much simpler. Pick one pain point in your own life, something small, something very specific, and start iterating on it with AI until you resolve it. That is how I was able to build all these 4 apps. And once you solve something personal, take that same approach into your day job and start improving the workflows that slow your team down, because that is where the real leverage shows up. AI fluency is now a skill set employers are actively looking for, and the people who will stand out are the ones who did not wait to be trained. They went out and solved problems using AI on their own first. Thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one.